Hi, I'm Fletcher Rhoden, and my pet peeve for today is people who suck their fingers. Well, Pet Peeves is brought to you by my website, FletcherRhoden.com. That's where you'll find links to my author page at Amazon.com. That's where you can buy my books in paperback or for Kindle or in audiobook format. You can also find a link to my Spotify artist page. That's where you can download my various albums. In 2024, I had a 4-album series called Quadrilogy. And this year, 2025, I have a brand new album of pop music called I'm Possible. So check that out. Now you can download those albums from any of your favorite sites. Wherever you like to download your favorite music, you can download mine. But at my website, there's free music that you can only get there. So check it out. Okay, so today's pet peeve. You know, pet peeves are funny, aren't they? We all have them, and sometimes you just want to express them, and it's interesting how many other people share your pet peeves. It also may be interesting how many new pet peeves you can come across, and don't we all need a few more of them? So, however, you may benefit when you hear me mention one of your pet peeves, and you say, gee, that funny little man isn't really on the spot this time. Maybe I'm going to give up that pet peeve and start to forgive people who do this annoying thing. I hope I can help. So today it's people who lick their fingers. Now, when I say pet peeves, I realize that I begin to say people who. But it's not the people. And one of my pet peeves that I've mentioned is entering first and walking into a subway car before you let the people walk out of it. Or walking into a building before you let the person walk out of the building. An elevator, a bus, things like that. And I said the people who do that, though the people are not my pet peeves. People are people. It's the things they do that make me nuts. It's the things they do that are my pet peeves. Not the people who. But people do these things. Generally, my pet peeves, I don't know about you, you can let me know in the comments section, but for me, pet peeves are generated by people's behavior. I don't find a rainy day to be a pet peeve. We need rain, you know? I don't find natural occurrences to be pet peeves, but some behaviors. And behaviors come from people, generally. Not always, but generally. So, today, this particular pet peeve is a person-oriented pet peeve. Like, for example, I don't love stray dogs. I don't. It's a pet peeve to see a dog running around on the street alone, snapping at people maybe, or raggedy, and you don't know where it's been, or what it's got on it, or what it's got in it, or what it's going to do to you. A dog can be a dangerous animal. I'm a dog person, but I don't love seeing stray dogs wandering around. But generally, that's the result of the human behavior of not taking care of their dogs. You know? So, where do you separate the peeve from the person? Hard to tell. In any case, let's get back to today's pet peeve, which is licking your fingers, sucking your fingers. Like, let's say you're eating food, fried chicken, and you're licking the greasy, spiced fat off your... It's disgusting, okay? It's gross. It's gross. It's so gross. First of all, your mouth is filled with that flavor, whatever it is. All right? You don't need more of it. Your mouth is filled with it. So licking it off your fingers is not going to increase the pleasure of the flavor. It's not going to increase the sensation of it unless you also like the salty oil which is caked all over your skin at all times. Unless you like to go around just licking your bare skin for the oil and dirt that is accumulated on it, or bits of fecal debris or whatever, there's nothing to be gained by licking anything off of your fingers. There really isn't. There are some cultures where you eat with your hands. That's fine. Hey, I'm not a cultural exclusionist. Eat however you were taught to eat. If this is your tool, if this is your implement, then use it. But do you have to lick it clean when your mouth is filled with that food and you're only going to eat more of it? I mean, first of all, you're licking, and then you're dipping it right back into the bowl full of whatever it is you're eating. Rice or hummus or whatever it is, if that's your culture. And that's gross too. But your fingers are only going to get dirty again seconds after you lick them clean. So there's no purpose to it. And as I say, you've already got a mouthful of flavor and nutrition and everything. Okay? So it's gross. It also looks disgusting. It's like your Bacchus, who just has to have every succulent drop of... Ugh. Also, don't you have a napkin? What's the purpose of this? To enjoy the food more? No, because you've got a mouthful of it. This is only traces of what you already have in abundance in your mouth. Is it laziness because you can't pick up a napkin and wipe your hands? Why? Your napkin is right there. It's probably tucked under your neck. But if not, then it's on your lap, where it should be. Then you can pick it up, wipe your hands, put it back. It doesn't take any more muscular effort to do that than this. And in the meantime, people have to hear you do it. The sucking sound, you know? Food and noise generate a lot of pet peeves with me, but the noise of food is really gross. Not always. A sizzling steak, that's nice. You know, a crunchy apple, oh, that's lovely. Whipped cream, who could object to that? But but people chewing with their mouth open, and the sounds of their saliva slapping against their teeth, and the masticating and the breaking down of the food while they... It's like a carnival of sounds that just ought not exist. It's a cacophony, is what it is. And that's not what a meal should be. Okay? So it's not just looking at it, and it's not just noting that you're so bestial that you won't even use a napkin that's inches from your hands, wherever it is. But then now I have to hear you sucking on your own fingers. Okay? Everything about it is disgusting. Who made this famous? Colonel Harlan Sanders, I think it was, when he was still running his restaurant. And maybe he didn't come up with it, but he certainly put the quote right next to his face. Maybe it was his wife or his friend or his board member who thought of it, but probably an ad exec. It's finger licking good. Okay? That's why this is so gross. Because the notion of that practice is so widespread that most of the country bought the food predicated on the notion that afterward or during its consumption, they could suck on their own flesh and lick it clean, like a fly licking pieces of dog poop off of its weird hand, arm, tendril things that it has. Gross. Gross. What are you, a cat? That you have to lick your hands? You know, Colonel Sanders and Kentucky Fried Chicken, that was not known as the high-class eatery. You know, that was and remains low-class food. Not for low-class people, because I like the Colonel. But I wipe my hands when I eat it. I wipe my hands when I eat it. I don't suck on them. When I take a shower, I use a scrub brush, you know? I don't lick my skin clean with my tongue. When I get out of the shower, I use a towel. I don't squeegee the water off with my hands and then lick it off. Use a napkin. Stop sucking on your fingers. Keep your mouth closed when you chew your food. It's gross. honestly, people are gross enough. You don't have to be any grosser than you already are. Could you just follow the modicum of politeness and courtesy and minimize the grotesqueness of your humanity? If you could do that, don't be farting in public, don't be belching at the table, don't be sucking on your fingers, don't be loud chewing your food. Come on. Gross. So all of that for me culminates in the... It's disgusting. Stop doing that. Okay, that's my pet peeve for today. If you want to hear another pet peeve, hey, let me ask you something. Did you agree with me before I started this little rant? Did you agree that was gross? Or are you a finger sucker? Do you suck on your fingers and you're thinking, hey, I have a right to suck on my fingers. They're my fingers. I can suck on what I want. If I could suck on other parts of my body, I probably would never leave the house. I would. I'd go to a psychiatrist to ask them why I was sucking on all these weird parts of my body. But if you disagree with me, that's cool. Put it in the comments section. I'll read it and I'll respond in kind. Otherwise, tune in again 2 weeks from now for another edition of Fletcher Rhoden's Pet Peeves. Until then, next week at this channel, at this time, you can see my other new show, Quotes and Quips. It's actually a show from last year, but we are doing a whole fresh new year of Quotes and Quips. So tune into it alternating Mondays. But every Monday at noon, you're going to find me here doing or saying something about someone or something that they do. So tune in then. You can also go to my website, check that out. I have another show on YouTube called Tracking the Lone Wolf, which is on its own web channel. It's on its own YouTube channel, Tracking the Lone Wolf. The show is called Tracking the Lone Wolf. It's about my book, Tracking the Lone Wolf, The Sigma at Work, at Home, and at Play. That's available in all the three formats, as are many of my books. They're all at Amazon.com. You can find the link at my website, where you can also link to my new album, I'm Possible, which is available wherever you like to download your favorite music. Tune in to all this fun stuff. Watch me again. And until then, bye, Mary.